Ms. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are no adequate words I can say to take away the pain of those suffering across our country. Now is the time for understanding, and I am committed to listening and learning. First, Mr. Floyd and the entire Floyd family and loved ones, I am deeply sorry for the loss of your brother, family member, and friend. No actions or words I can say here today will ever make you whole again, but please know how grateful I am for your presence here today, and I offer you my deepest condolences. And Mrs. Underwood Jacobs, your brother Pat was proudly protecting the community he loved, and I am deeply sorry for your loss as well. I hope you both will accept my heartfelt grief for you and your entire family. And to all of the families, like the Floyds and the Underwoods, who have had to suffer the tragedy and sorrow of losing a loved one due to needless violence, I also want to add my deep condolences. Today is a day to set our politics aside and focus on sound policies for our country. To all the witnesses, I have reviewed your written testimony. I have heard your verbal testimony, and I've listened to you answer questions from my colleagues. I want you to know that I am listening and I am learning and I hear you. I stand ready and I am hopeful. I am hopeful we can find bipartisan solutions and policies. Mr. Floyd and Mrs. Underwood Jacobs, I would like to give each of you the remainder of my time to address the committee.
Just sitting here, coming to try to tell you all about how I want justice for my brother. I just think about that video over and over again. Felt like 8 hours and 46 minutes. Hurt seeing my brother plead for his life, watching that officer just put his knee on his neck. Just every day just looking at it, being like anywhere. That's all people talk about. The rest of my life, that's all I ever see. Somebody looking at the video. Kids had to watch the video. His kids had to watch the video. It just hurt. It's a lot of people with a lot of pain. My family, they just cry every day and just ask why. Why? He pleaded for his life. He said he couldn't breathe. Nobody cared. Nobody. People pleaded for him. They still didn't care. Justice has to be served. Those officers, they have to be convicted. Anybody with a heart, they know that's wrong. You don't do that to a human being. You don't even do that to an animal. His life mattered. All our lives matter. Black lives matter. I just wish I can get them back. Those officers, they get to live.
Mr. Floyd, we grieve with you, and we appreciate very much your courage to be here with us today. My time has expired, but may Mrs. Underwood Jacobs address the committee as well?
By all means.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and Congresswoman Roby. I have to say that I'm heartbroken. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to my brother either before he was killed. I am also heartbroken for all of the other people that are in this country living every single day and feel unsafe just to drive to the store. I also have had the talk with my son. We sit here today at somewhat opposite ends of the spectrum to a certain degree, but yet there is so much commonality amongst both of us. And the heartbreak and the grief is inexplainable because it's very, very hard to articulate when your entire world has been turned upside down. I do want to know, though, when I think about all of this, is that my brother wore a uniform, and he wore that uniform proudly. I'm wondering, where is the outrage for a fallen officer that also happens to be African American? So as I'm sitting here and I'm listening to all of you and us, I truly hope that you take your positions, your offices so seriously that you want to go back and really work together and collaborate. Because if you can't get it right, there's no hope for the rest of us. So when you go back and you convene and you talk through everything that's going on, I hope that we're just not people on paper, but the fact that you could be able to see our faces and feel our pain and feel it enough that you want to make change for all the citizens of the United States of America.
Again, we grieve with you both, and we thank you very much for your courage to be with us here today. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
The gentlelady yields.